Thank you. I couldn't ask for a better introduction than Michael's. It's a natural segue. I guess the only thing better is the sign over the door that says Ancient Rome and America. The only thing better than that would have been Modern Greece and America. My role today is to ask a simple question with a complicated answer. The question is, why is this so damn hard? The answer I'm going to give today to kick off the discussion is it's about a fundamental disagreement between public voice and public choice, two very different models about why the system is or is not changeable. The public voice model is the one that Barack Obama believed in the 2008 presidential campaign. Sarah Palin believes it, the Tea Party believes it, MoveOn.org believes it, and probably many people in this room, along with pretty much the entire American public, as you just saw, believes it. The public voice model is if we get mad enough and rise up and vote a lot of the bastards out, or at least protest in the streets, things will change. This is an appealing vision which happens to be wrong. The public choice model, on the other hand, is believed by a few academics, mostly right of center, who developed a school of thinking in the 60s and 70s that addressed the question, how is it that focused groups can so often beat much, much larger majorities? What's going on there? A good way to tell the public choice story is a case study, which I happen to be working on lately. How many of you are aware of the, and know in great detail, the United States cotton subsidy program? You mean some people are not actually acquainted with this? I'm shocked. Raise your hand if you even knew it existed until I mentioned it. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a policy wonk audience. Let me give you a few facts about the cotton subsidy. It's been in continuous business since the 1930s, when the New Deal founded it in order to help farmers through the Depression. It has spent $30 billion, that's billion with a B, since 1995. It has about 265,000 recipients, which is about ideal for a federal program. It's quite a few. Most of them are in red states. This is a very Republican program. That's about a little under 1 in 1,000 Americans getting benefits, but they all know it. Boy, do they know it. It's a very concentrated program. Like a lot of the farm subsidies, the top 10% of recipients get 80% of the benefits, and that comes to an average of over $50,000 a year. That's a nice check to get from the government. The top 1% of cotton farmers get almost a quarter of the benefits, and that's almost $300,000 a year, which begins to look like real money even if you work for Goldman Sachs. And everybody who's getting checks from the cotton program is well aware of getting them. Even more fun about this program, it's going to have to be reformed or at least tweaked because it's illegal. The Brazilians took the Americans to the World Trade Court and said this is an illegal export subsidy. It is. The World Trade Organization agreed and authorized Brazil to retaliate against American exports. The business community went to the White House and said, that's terrible, we can't have that. The White House said, we can't do anything about this program until the next Farm Bill in 2012 because it's in statute. So the administration went to the Brazilians and cut a deal. It said, okay, you guys, Brazil, get off our backs, allow our farm subsidies continue. In exchange, we will subsidize Brazil's cotton farmers to the tune of $147 million a year until we bring our program into compliance. In other words, the United States is bribing Brazilian farmers in order to continue to subsidize American farmers. Now, you're all rolling your eyes. You're thinking, surely this is terrible. This must change. This is silly. You're, of course, right about that. But why is it so hard to change? Well, do the math. A beneficiary of this program, if you were to get rid of the cotton subsidy, stands to lose tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. The stakes are enormous. If, however, this program went away tomorrow, the American taxpayer would gain, and this is an approximate estimate, 1 dime a year, might be 9 cents. That's the public choice problem, right? It's arithmetic. The recipients of these focused programs are almost infinitely more interested in retaining them than anyone else is interested in getting rid of them. And you cannot fix this, ladies and gentlemen. It is, to repeat, arithmetic. It is hard math. If you go up against it and you're not clever, what happens to you is what happens to President Bush in 2008. He tried to reform the farm programs. Instead, Congress passed a farm bill that President Bush rightly described as wasteful. He vetoed that bill, and in a rare and shining example of bipartisanship in Washington, his veto was overridden by a margin of 3-1 in the House, and get this, 6-1 in the Senate. That's really hard to do. Farm programs are popular. The base out there loves them. You know, they're a fabric of rural community. They go to the salt of the earth. And here's the bigger problem. The public only dislikes government in the abstract, which gets to the takeaway lesson that I'd like to leave you with here today. It's a bumper sticker. There is no such thing as big government. There simply isn't. There are only government programs. Hundreds, thousands of programs, each of them there for a reason, each defended by a constituency which has built landmines and machine gun nests around it. All of them hard to reform. As Vin Weber, a former member of Congress, used to say, we don't get to vote against or for government in the abstract. We have to vote on programs. There's only one way to do that, I'm convinced, and that is incrementalism. It is the hard and slow and steady work of program by program. You start with entitlements, but you also do farm programs and student loans and veterans benefits and all that stuff, one by one, doing what you can to modernize, reform, and when necessary, which is often reduce them. It is not easy, it is not fun. Above all, it is not glamorous. So here's takeaway lesson number 2. Throwing tantrums is part of the problem, not part of the solution. The problem with being Glenn Beck and wanting to go back before the New Deal or throw the bastards out or whatever is that it makes doable reform look trivial, if not contemptible. It raises public expectations much too high about what you can do with Washington, and that makes it even harder to do what you really can do, which is slow, steady change. So my takeaway lesson for you, I don't know if I've made it in 7 minutes yet, is
You've about hit it.
I've about hit 7 minutes, so here it is, folks, the grand finale. Yes, we need to manage the problem, but just as important, we need to manage expectations.
Thank you.